Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the video. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Ryan Beach, and on today's video, we're gonna be talking about one way that we can use our discipline of practicing an instrument to be able to sort of drive some personal development work in our lives. I think personal development is important in our lives because the work that we need to do over the long term on our instruments can be very contingent upon the level of personal development that we've experienced. For example, patience is something that we absolutely need as people who will be doing this for a very long time. And if you're not a very patient person, it's gonna be hard for you to do that, and you're gonna find anxiety and struggle along the way, more so than someone who might be able to be a little bit more patient with the process. With the clients that I have in my practice independence coaching, one of the things that we do together is we pick 5 principles for each of them that are specific to them, and we have them write it down and keep it close. So when they're struggling in their practice, they can reference that list of principles that the best version of themselves as a practicer would have to help sort of ground them in who do I want to be in this moment of struggle. In this video, I'm going to share my 10 principles that I hold near and dear to myself. I hope that by sharing them, you can use them in your own decisions about principles that you might want, and hopefully as just an encouragement to get started with this process. Let's get into the video. The first principle that the best version of myself as a practicer would have is honesty. Honesty is really important to me because, in my opinion, honesty is the birthplace of growth. Before we even start being able to be real with ourselves and say, what am I good at? What am I not good at? What kind of work do I need to do right now? When we're in the middle of a struggle, instead of sort of powering through, hoping it gets better, honesty allows us to step back and say, what's going on here? What's going wrong? What do I need to do to be able to fix this? It sort of just acts as a way to ground ourselves in how do I deal with what's actually happening by being honest with myself. The second principle that's important to me is self-control or discipline. For me, self-control and discipline is the answer to what happens if you don't feel motivated to practice. In my opinion, motivation is emotional, and if we are running our lives based on our emotions, we're gonna have a hard time because our emotions can be wildly different from day to day. For some people, a lack of motivation might be actual burnout, and we have to assess how long of a break should we take to sort of recuperate and recharge. But for a lot of us, a lack of motivation is simply we're using, I want to feel good about my practice to drive whether or not we practice. And if we use that, some days we might not even show up at all. So having a plan, having the self-control to say, I'm gonna do this thing, and the discipline to show up is necessary on some days just to get the work in and continue progressing. The third principle that I want to cover in this video is integrity. Integrity is pretty simple, just to be a man of principle. And so this list would be useless without integrity. And I really think all it boils down to for me is I want to be good for the things that I say I'm going to do for my clients, for my students, for my family, for myself as a practicer, and more. The fourth principle that is important to me is humility. For me, humility is just remembering that I am really not the smartest person in the room. I can definitely learn from other teachers, other colleagues, other students, other clients, maybe even learning from people I may have disagreed with in the past, but you know what? They brought up a good point, and I should consider that. Aiming to be humble in my life is also a vote for myself and believing that I can actually still improve. I am still a work in progress. Growth can come from anywhere, and I want to be open to see where that might happen. The fifth principle that the best version of myself as a practicer would have is patience. As I said before, what we're doing is a very long-term thing, and patience is necessary. Part of long-term progression is being able to stay exactly where we need to be, challenging ourselves a little bit, but being able to meet that challenge and not feeling like because we're impatient, we have to rush the process, making sure we're definitely not going to be building good habits. For me, the way I try to handle this is to actually just shift my focus from external goals to internal progress. Making sure that me feeling like I'm where I need to be and that I'm improving helps keep me patient, helps keep me in the process, and it helps keep me a lot happier along the way. The sixth principle that I try to focus on incorporating in my life and in my practicing life is kindness. Now, this is obvious. I want to be a kind person, but I actually mean more specifically, be kind to myself. As I said before in the patience principle, I am a work in progress. All of us are actually a work in progress. We have growth left to do. And so expecting myself to be perfect in the middle of a process of growth is pretty counterproductive. So I got to remember to say to myself, I'm learning, it's okay, this is how I get better, you're just fine. Being kind to myself first hopefully will allow myself to also share that kindness with others. The seventh principle we're going to discuss in this video is growth or maturity. This is a similar point to the ones I made in humility and in kindness, but because I'm a work in progress, I don't want to stay still. I actually want to believe that just because I've reached a certain point in my career doesn't mean that I should say I've made it. I'm going to just maintain my abilities and stay right where I'm at. I should want to grow. I should want to find out what I'm capable of. The eighth principle that I try to focus on incorporating into my practicing life is peace. Now, peace is sort of a principle, it's sort of a byproduct, and I mostly mean in terms of developing a great plan gives me the peace of mind of knowing I'm going to invest all of my psychic energy, all of my consciousness onto this one activity right here, and then I'm going to be able to walk away knowing that today I did what I needed to do, and all I can do from now on is enjoy the rest of the day and then show up tomorrow and do exactly the same thing. Again, that really gives me the peace of mind to know I'm doing what I need to be doing, and that's okay. The ninth principle on my list is joy. Joy is very simple. I find that there's joy in remembering that I can get better. There's joy in simply playing the instrument. I think having an orchestral job sometimes makes me feel like I gotta show up and I gotta play this thing, and it can kind of turn into a job. It's not necessarily a joyful thing to do, but I do this because I'm getting paid money. And it's really easy to lose sight of why we got into this thing in the first place, which was I enjoy doing what it is, I enjoy doing with other people, and really just trying to protect that in myself as I practice and as I interact with others. The 10th and final principle that the best version of myself as a practicer would have is gratitude. Gratitude is a relatively recent addition to my list of principles. I have found myself to be someone who's very goal-oriented. I want to win an orchestra job, or I want to start this successful project, or do all of the things in the entire world. And because my focus is so future-oriented, it can be hard to remember that there's a lot of beauty right now in my life that I can focus on. As a player, I may not be the exact version of myself as I want to be right now, but remembering that there is a lot of good that's happening in my playing as well. I can see progress that I've made. I can play music and enjoy doing that. And again, I may not be exactly where I want to be, but that's okay. I can also enjoy where I'm at as well. If you want a quick recommendation about how to incorporate gratitude, there's actually an easy practice. Many people do it. One of the most simple ways to incorporate this is to get a notebook, write numbers 1 through 10, and just each day write 10 things you're grateful for. Try to fill up all 10 of them. Try to write new ones if you can, so that we really take stock of what is in our lives right now and how much we have to be thankful for right now. To close out this video, I just wanted to give sort of a general thought about my personal development journey in my own life. I found it to be interesting that you can't really design exercises to improve upon personal development like you could in articulation, to say I'm going to play this Arbin exercise to work on articulation. With personal development, there's a bit of visualization that can help. You could say, what would it be like to be honest in this situation? Or what would it look like to have patience? But really, it becomes developed in that moment of struggle where we choose to live by the principles that we've decided to live by. In this way, I think it's important to have your principles near you and to dwell on them, to remember who it is that you want to be in your moments of struggle, who you want to be in your moments of triumph, so that we can start to actually really make strides toward becoming that person over time. This work takes time, it's often confusing, it's really hard a lot of the time, but for me, it's worth it because in my life, I've seen more peace, more patience, more joy, more maturity, more gratitude, more happiness. I've seen these things develop in my own life, and it's why I'm even here talking about it in a video, because it will work for you. We just have to get started. All right, everybody, that's going to be all for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this serves as a way to encourage you to either get started in some of your personal development journey or as encouragement to continue fighting the good fight if you're already doing it. If you enjoyed this video or if it's interesting to you, please hit the like button down below and make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this and join a community of people who want to become the best players, musicians, and people that they can be. If you want to talk with me about becoming a client to help develop some of these principles for yourselves and have some encouragement along the way, I'm going to leave a link down below for a free 30-minute meeting that you can have with me where we can discuss what that would look like and if that's something you want to do. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Always remember, stay strong, be kind to yourself, never stop growing, and we'll see you in the next video.